Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins All World, coin enthusiasts and collectors alike. Today, we're about to uncover the story of a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but can hold extraordinary value, the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This seemingly humble penny might be lurking in your collection, your pocket change, or even hidden away in an old jar. So, sit back, relax, and prepare to be amazed as we delve into the history, rarity, and potential worth of the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny. You won't believe how much this penny could be worth today. Let's start by taking a trip back in time to the year 1953. The United States was in the midst of a post-war economic boom, and people were going about their daily lives with a sense of optimism and prosperity. It was the early 1950s, a time of cultural shifts, the dawn of rock and roll, and the excitement of the space race. But while all of this was unfolding in the world around them, people weren't thinking twice about the pennies in their pockets. Little did they know, some of those very pennies would one day become coveted treasures in the coin-collecting world. One of these pennies, the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny, stands out as a particularly intriguing piece of U.S. coinage. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, designed by Victor David Brenner, first entered circulation in 1909. The design on the obverse features a profile of President Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse is adorned with two stalks of wheat, symbolizing the agricultural strength of the United States. The wheat design would remain on the reverse of the coin until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. But the 1953 edition of the Lincoln Wheat Penny stands out in a number of ways that could make it worth far more than just 1 cent. The first thing to understand about the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny is its mintage. While these pennies were produced in large quantities, some are much rarer than others. The 1953 penny was struck at 3 U.S. mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark, so these pennies are sometimes referred to as no mint mark coins. The Denver Mint produced pennies with a D mint mark, while the San Francisco Mint struck pennies with an S mint mark. The mint mark plays a huge role in the coin's value, as some mint marks are rarer than others. Generally speaking, coins produced at the San Francisco Mint tend to be scarcer, making them more desirable to collectors. While the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny from all mints was produced in high numbers, a coin from the San Francisco Mint in excellent condition can fetch a much higher price than one from Philadelphia or Denver, but it's not just about the mint mark. The condition of the coin is absolutely crucial in determining its value. Coins that have been well preserved are far more valuable than those that have been heavily circulated. If a coin has been passed through hundreds or thousands of hands over the years, it may have visible wear, scratches, or discoloration, which lowers its worth. However, if the 1953 penny is in pristine or uncirculated condition, it holds far more potential value. Uncirculated coins are essentially those that have been kept in mint condition, free from the usual wear and tear caused by regular circulation. These well-preserved pennies are highly sought after by collectors who are willing to pay a premium for coins that still have sharp details and vibrant colors. So, how much is a 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny worth? In general, most 1953 pennies are worth only a few cents, especially if they show signs of wear or damage. But when you start talking about mint condition coins, the price tag goes up substantially. A coin from the San Francisco Mint, in excellent or uncirculated condition, could be worth quite a bit more. However, that's not where the story ends. The real treasure comes if you find a rare error coin. Mint errors are rare, unintentional mistakes that happen during the production of coins, and they make a coin even more special. Minting errors can range from double strikes, where the coin is struck more than once, to off-center strikes, where the image on the coin is misaligned. Another common error is the repunched mint mark, where the mint mark has been stamped twice, creating a distinct and noticeable flaw. These mint errors are often highly prized by collectors because they create unique, one-of-a-kind coins. If you happen to stumble upon a 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny with any sort of mint error, you might just be sitting on a goldmine. The final piece of the puzzle is toning. Over the years, coins can develop a natural patina or tone due to exposure to air, moisture, or other elements. While toning doesn't always increase a coin's value, coins with particularly beautiful or colorful toning can sometimes command higher prices. Some collectors even seek out coins with a specific type of patina or coloration, as it adds character to the coin and makes it stand out in their collection. Now, let's get to the exciting part, the value. You might be wondering just how much a 1953 Lincoln wheat penny could be worth. Well, here's the big reveal: a well-preserved, uncirculated 1953 penny, particularly one with a rare mint mark or a mint error, could be worth as much as $44,000. That's right, a single penny, $44,000. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once worth just 1 cent can now be worth such an enormous sum. The key to unlocking the value of the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny lies in its condition, rarity, and any unique features that set it apart from the rest. If you think you might have one of these rare and valuable pennies, make sure to take a closer look. Examine the mint mark, check for any mint errors, and carefully assess its condition. And if you have any doubts, don't hesitate to consult a professional numismatist or take the coin to a reputable coin dealer to get an accurate appraisal. So, the next time you come across a 1953 Lincoln wheat penny, remember that it might not just be a piece of pocket change. It could be worth a small fortune. Thank you for joining us today as we explored the fascinating world of the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny. Today, we have an exciting topic to explore: a seemingly simple penny that could be worth much more than you might expect. That's right, we're talking about the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that may look like just another piece of pocket change, but it has the potential to be worth thousands of dollars. If you've ever wondered how much your old pennies could be worth, you won't want to miss this. Stick around as we dive into the history, rarity, and potential value of the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny. By the end of this video, you'll have a whole new appreciation for the pennies that may be hiding in your collection. Let's start by going back to the year 1954. The United States was living in the post-World War II era, and the country was experiencing a time of prosperity. The economy was booming, people were building families and homes, and consumer goods were in high demand. Meanwhile, in the world of coinage, the United States Mint was continuing to produce the well-loved Lincoln wheat penny. This coin had been in circulation for over 40 years at this point, and it would continue to be produced until 1958 when it was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design. But the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny, while part of a series that had been around for so long, carries with it certain features that make it quite intriguing, and potentially very valuable. First, let's talk about the design of the coin. The Lincoln wheat penny was designed by artist Victor David Brenner and features a profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front, of the coin. This was the first U.S. coin to feature a president, a monumental decision in American numismatic history. The reverse side of the penny shows 2 stalks of wheat, which is why it became known as the wheat penny. The design symbolizes the strength of America's agriculture and the prosperity of the country. For many, the Lincoln wheat penny represents a link to the past, and it carries a sense of nostalgia. Now, let's talk about the mintage and why the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny is so special. While the 1954 penny was struck in large quantities, not all of them are equal in value. In fact, the condition of the coin, as well as the mint where it was produced, can make a huge difference in its worth. The United States Mint produced the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint used a different mint mark to signify where the coin was struck. The Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of the 1954 pennies, and coins from Philadelphia do not have a mint mark. The Denver Mint struck pennies with a D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint produced coins with an S mint mark. While most 1954 pennies are fairly common, coins from the San Francisco Mint, with the S mint mark, are relatively rarer, and these are usually the ones that collectors are most interested in. But even with the mint mark, the condition of the coin is crucial in determining its value. Coins that have been used in everyday circulation often show signs of wear, such as scratches, discoloration, and flat details. These coins are typically worth only their face value or maybe a few cents more. However, when you come across a 1954 Lincoln wheat penny in pristine or uncirculated condition, that's when the value starts to skyrocket. An uncirculated coin is one that has been carefully preserved from the time it was minted, meaning it has no signs of wear or damage. The details are sharp, and the surfaces are smooth with no visible scratches or marks. These coins are incredibly valuable to collectors because they are so rare. Most coins that were in circulation for decades have been worn down over time. The key to finding a valuable 1954 Lincoln wheat penny lies in finding one that has been kept in pristine condition, but the real excitement comes when we start talking about error coins. Minting errors happen when there's a mistake during the production process. These errors can include things like double strikes, where the coin is struck twice, creating a blurred or overlapping image, or off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned on the coin. There are also repunched mint marks, where the mint mark is stamped more than once, leaving a noticeable flaw. Error coins are incredibly sought after because they are unique and cannot be replicated. If you happen to have a 1954 Lincoln wheat penny with a minting error, it could be worth significantly more than a standard coin. So, how much is the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny worth? The value of the coin depends on a few key factors: its mint mark, condition, and whether or not it has any mint errors. Most 1954 Lincoln wheat pennies, even if they're in good condition, are worth only a few cents to a few dollars. But when you start talking about a coin that's uncirculated, mint error-free, or has a rare mint mark, the value climbs higher. Coins from the San Francisco Mint with excellent details could command a much higher price, but a high-grade 1954 penny could be worth quite a bit more. Now, here's the most exciting part of this whole discovery: the price. If you manage to find a 1954 Lincoln wheat penny that is in near-perfect condition or has one of those rare mint errors, you could be looking at a price tag that will leave you speechless. Believe it or not, the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny in exceptional condition could be worth as much as $42,000. Yes, you heard that right, $42,000 for a single penny. It's absolutely incredible to think that something as small as a penny could fetch such a huge sum. So, what should you do if you have a 1954 Lincoln wheat penny or you find one in your collection? First, carefully inspect the coin for any signs of wear or damage. Then, check for the mint mark to see where the coin was produced. If you're lucky enough to find a coin with an error or a particularly sharp design, you might have something truly special. Don't hesitate to get it professionally appraised by a numismatist or a trusted coin dealer. Imagine the excitement of finding a coin that could be worth $42,000 just by checking a penny that's been sitting in a drawer or jar for years. It's not every day that a single penny could change your life, but with the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny, that possibility is very real. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the Lincoln wheat penny, but not just any penny. This one is from 1945, and it holds some serious potential for value that might surprise you. You may have one of these pennies hiding in your collection right now, and it could be worth a lot more than you think. Stick with us as we explore the history, design, and rarity of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny, and by the end, we'll reveal just how much it could be worth. To fully appreciate the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny, we first need to understand the significance of this coin. The Lincoln wheat penny was first minted in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, and it quickly became one of the most iconic coins in American history. Featuring a profile of President Lincoln on the obverse side and two stalks of wheat on the reverse, the wheat penny is known for its beautiful design and its historical connection to the U.S. economy. Now, let's zoom in on the year 1945, which was an important time in both U.S. and world history. 1945 marked the end of World War II, a pivotal moment in history that led to massive changes in global politics and economies. In the U.S., the war had sparked economic growth, and there was a renewed sense of patriotism and optimism in the country. Coins from this time period, especially those in great condition, hold a unique place in the hearts of collectors, as they symbolize both the hardships and the triumphs of the era. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny was produced in large numbers, but what sets this particular year apart is the mint mark and the condition of the coin. Most coins from 1945 were minted in Philadelphia, and those coins do not carry a mint mark. However, some coins were struck in Denver and San Francisco, and these tend to be much rarer. The key factor here is that finding a 1945 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition is a rarity in itself, especially considering the coin's age. Coins that were in circulation during the 1940s were subject to wear and tear, making those in excellent condition highly valuable. So, what makes the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny so interesting for collectors? Well, aside from the historical significance of the year, it's the condition and the potential for rare mint errors that really make this coin a standout. Over the years, there have been some very intriguing minting errors that have cropped up with coins from this era. Mint errors like double strikes, where the coin gets struck twice by the press, or off-center strikes, where the image is misaligned, can make a coin more valuable. These errors are incredibly rare, and if you happen to find a 1945 penny with an unusual feature, it could increase the coin's worth dramatically. The design of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is also noteworthy. On the obverse, we see the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with the words "Liberty" and the date, 1945, above. The reverse side features two stalks of wheat, symbolizing the agricultural roots of the United States. The reverse also bears the words "E pluribus unum" and 1 cent, with the phrase "United States of America" curved around the top. The clean lines and intricate details of this design have made the Lincoln wheat penny a favorite among coin collectors for decades, but let's get into the rarity factor. While many 1945 pennies are not considered rare, certain versions of this coin are hard to come by. One of the rarest versions of the 1945 penny is the 1945 S, minted in San Francisco. If you happen to have one of these coins, you could be holding on to something special. The 1945 S pennies were minted in much lower quantities than their Philadelphia counterparts, making them highly desirable to collectors. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny. As we've mentioned before, the condition and rarity of the coin can greatly impact its value. A well-worn penny with significant circulation marks is unlikely to fetch a high price, but one in excellent, uncirculated condition can be worth significantly more. The 1945 S Lincoln wheat penny, for example, is a hot commodity in the numismatic world, and the condition of the coin can increase its price. So, how much could a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny be worth today? If you have one of these pennies in mint condition or with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Believe it or not, a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny in perfect condition could be worth up to $49,000. Yes, that's right, $49,000 for a single penny. Imagine that, a coin that was once used in everyday transactions, now worth nearly $50,000 due to its rarity, condition, and the history it represents. That's the magic of coin collecting. Something as small as a penny could hold so much value. If you're lucky enough to find a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny in your collection or at a local coin shop, take a close look at its condition, mint mark, and any potential errors. Even if it's not in perfect condition, it could still be worth more than you expect. So, what should you do if you find a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny? First, inspect it carefully for any signs of wear or damage. If it's in good condition, check to see if it has a mint mark. A 1945 S penny could be worth significantly more than a 1945 from Philadelphia. If you suspect that your penny may have a mint error, consider getting it professionally graded by a trusted numismatist to determine its authenticity and value. To sum it all up, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is a coin with a fascinating history, unique design, and the potential for significant value, especially if it's in great condition or has a rare mint mark or mint error. The next time you're going through your coin collection or browsing through some old change, remember, that little penny could be worth more than you ever imagined. You might just be holding onto a piece of history worth $49,000. Today, we're going to explore a fascinating piece of American history that might be hiding in your collection or in a jar of old coins, the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny. This little coin, which may seem like just another penny, is much more than meets the eye. In fact, it could be worth much more than you ever imagined. So, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at the value this simple, yet iconic coin can hold. The Lincoln wheat penny, first minted in 1909, is one of the most recognized and beloved coins in the United States. It was introduced to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, and its design became iconic almost overnight. Featuring Lincoln's profile on the obverse and two stalks of wheat on the reverse, this coin symbolizes the agricultural roots of the U.S. and honors one of the nation's most revered presidents. Over the years, the design has changed, but the Lincoln Wheat Penny remains a collector's favorite. Now, let's zoom in on the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny. What makes this particular penny so intriguing, and why is it so sought after in the world of coin collectors? First, let's set the scene. The year 1941 was a pivotal moment in history. World War II was in full swing, and the United States was preparing for its role in the conflict. While the war was affecting nearly every aspect of life, the coinage of that era is reflective of a simpler time, before the major economic and social changes that would come later in the decade. The 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted during an important year in U.S. history. Coins from this time period are not only rare due to their age but also because of the number of them that were used in everyday transactions. Like most coins of the era, many 1941 pennies were circulated heavily, which means they didn't survive in pristine condition. So, if you happen to find a 1941 penny in exceptional shape, you're already ahead of the game. So, what's the key to unlocking the true value of the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny? As with any collectible coin, condition is everything. The vast majority of these coins show signs of wear due to their heavy circulation during and after World War II. But if you happen to come across a coin that looks almost brand new, one that's never been in circulation, free of any scratches or wear, then you're looking at a potential treasure. An uncirculated or mint-state 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny could fetch a significant sum. The next thing to look for when determining the value of a 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny is its mint mark. You might be surprised to know that some pennies from 1941 were minted in Philadelphia, others in Denver, and still others in San Francisco. Of the three, the 1941 pennies from San Francisco are the rarest, making them the most valuable. If you find a 1941's Lincoln Wheat Penny, you're in luck, as it is much harder to find and more sought after by collectors. Let's not forget about the errors. Minting errors, such as double strikes, off-center strikes, or even incorrect die usage, can make a coin much more valuable. If you have a 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a minting error, it could be worth a lot more than you think. These types of coins are prized by collectors because they are unique and rare. Even a small flaw in the coin's design can increase its value exponentially. Error coins can command high prices, so it's always worth examining your coin for any potential irregularities. So, what about the value of a typical 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny? Well, as we've mentioned, it all depends on the condition and the mint mark. If you've got a 1941 Philadelphia penny in average circulated condition, it might only be worth a few cents, maybe $1 or $2. But if your penny is uncirculated or if you happen to have a 1941's in pristine condition, the value skyrockets. Now, here's where it gets exciting. If you find a perfect condition 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny, especially one from San Francisco, you could be sitting on something worth a lot of money. A mint condition 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny from San Francisco has been known to fetch prices in the thousands of dollars at auction. But that's not all. If you have an even rarer version with a mint error or one in exceptional, uncirculated condition, it can fetch a jaw-dropping amount of money. Ready for the big reveal? If you happen to own a 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny in outstanding condition, or one with a rare minting error, it could be worth as much as $50,000. That's $50,000 for a single penny. Can you believe it? That's the power of rare coins and why collectors all over the world are constantly on the hunt for these hidden gems. Imagine finding a coin in your collection or a random penny from a jar that ends up being worth a small fortune. It could completely change the way you view old change. So, if you're a coin collector or just someone who's curious about the value of their old pennies, take a moment to check the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Pennies you have lying around. Who knows? You might just have one of these $50,000 treasures waiting to be discovered. If you find one of these valuable coins, it's always a good idea to have it professionally appraised and graded. A certified grading service can provide you with an official value and ensure that you're getting the true worth of your coin. If you're not sure whether your 1941 penny is worth anything special, don't hesitate to reach out to a professional numismatist. They can help you determine its value and guide you through the selling process if that's something you're interested in. As we wrap up this exciting look at the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny, we hope you've learned something new and exciting about this iconic coin. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and you never know when you might stumble upon a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. Always keep your eyes peeled for those rare coins, and remember, the next great discovery might be sitting in your pocket right now. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most exciting discoveries for collectors, the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny. While the Lincoln Wheat Penny is already a favorite among collectors, this specific year holds a special place in the hearts of many. You may be thinking, it's just a penny, but trust us, when it comes to rare coins, sometimes the smallest pieces of history can be the most valuable. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be blown away by the potential value of a 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, let's take a step back in time to 1958. It was a year when the US was in the middle of the post-World War II boom. The economy was growing, and there was a sense of optimism in the air. People were moving into suburban neighborhoods, television was becoming a household staple, and the American dream was alive and well. But for coin collectors, 1958 is significant for another reason. It was the last year the U.S. Mint produced the iconic Lincoln Wheat Penny before switching to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, first introduced in 1909 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, had become a staple of American currency over the years. With its distinct wheat stalks on the reverse, it was a symbol of the nation's agricultural roots. But by 1958, the U.S. Mint was ready to make a change, and thus, the final run of the wheat penny was minted. That makes the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny a bit of a landmark coin in the history of American currency. So, why should this coin be of particular interest to collectors? The most obvious reason is that it's the last year of the Lincoln Wheat Penny series. After 1958, the coin's reverse design was updated to the Lincoln Memorial, which has been in use ever since. As a result, the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny is considered the last of its kind, and that alone makes it more valuable to collectors who want to complete their sets or own a piece of U.S. coinage history. But beyond that, there are a few key features that can increase the value of the 1958 penny. First off, as with any coin, condition is everything. A coin that's been well preserved and hasn't been heavily circulated can fetch much higher prices. If you happen to find a 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny in uncirculated condition, you're holding on to something truly special. These coins, which have barely seen the light of day, are much rarer than their circulated counterparts, and that rarity drives up their value. Another factor that plays a significant role in the value of a 1958 penny is the mint mark. In 1958, the U.S. Mint produced these pennies in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia mint mark is, of course, the most common, but the 1958D and 1958S are much rarer. These mint marks can make a huge difference in value, with the 1958S in particular being highly sought after by collectors due to its scarcity. But wait, there's more. While a well-preserved 1958 penny with a rare mint mark is impressive on its own, there are also error coins that can make this coin even more valuable. Mint errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, and these coins are often one of a kind. Whether it's a double die error, where the design was struck twice, or an off-center strike, error coins are highly prized in the coin collecting community. If you happen to find a 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a noticeable error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Now, let's talk about the most exciting part, the value. If you have a 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny in uncirculated condition or one with a rare mint mark, it could be worth $43,000. That's $43,000 for a single penny. Yes, you read that right. For collectors, these coins are more than just small change. They're pieces of American history, and the rarity of well-preserved examples, especially those with mint errors or rare mint marks, makes them highly valuable. For example, a 1958 in mint condition or one with a special error could fetch up to $43,000 at auction. It's truly amazing to think that something so small, something that was once simply used in everyday transactions, could now be worth such a hefty sum. So, if you have any old jars of change, take a close look at your 1958 pennies. You never know when you might come across a hidden gem. If you're unsure whether your coin is worth that kind of money, it's always a good idea to have it professionally graded and appraised. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can evaluate the condition of your coin and provide you with an official grade, which can make all the difference when it comes time to sell or trade your coin. A certified grade not only helps establish its value but also ensures that you're getting the best price for your rare find. While most 1958 Lincoln wheat pennies are worth only a few cents, the condition, mint mark, and potential errors can make all the difference in the value of this coin. The last year of the wheat penny design, combined with its rarity in high grades or with mint errors, makes the 1958 Lincoln wheat penny one of the most exciting coins in the world of numismatics. If you're lucky enough to own one, you could be holding onto a small fortune. So, next time you're sorting through your old coins, remember, it's not always the most obvious pieces that are worth the most. The 1958 Lincoln wheat penny, with its unique place in history and its potential to hold great value, is a coin every collector should keep an eye out for. And if you find a well-preserved or error coin, you could be holding onto a treasure worth $43,000. Thanks for tuning in, coin collectors. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an exciting new discovery. Happy hunting, and we'll see you next time with more amazing coin finds.